everyone going on? Good evening. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the Gettysburg Area School District. Public comment is welcome and issues will be referred to the appropriate board, committee, or administrator. Comments will be summarized in the official board minutes, which will be made available by contacting the business office. Please silence any electronic devices. Ms. Collins, everybody's present. Mike is out of state, work-related, on the phone. At the break in between the recognition, we're going to bring your mic up so that the audience can capture any comments or votes that Mr. Dickerson would have. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, just one notice for this evening. The final 22-23 budget and resolutions are not on this agenda this evening. We're in the process of finalizing a recommendation for board approval on June 20th. We pushed approval back 2 weeks to enable us to be as accurate as possible with revenue projections, given one final update from the Tax Bureau expected sometime later this week, and any funding updates regarding the state budget in Harrisburg. We're also attempting to reduce some expenditure areas in order to put several professional positions back in the budget and to increase the fiscal capacity for school police support for our district campuses as part of the final recommendation. Our goal is to make a recommendation that supports our educational mission in a safe and secure environment while ensuring both the short-term and long-term fiscal health of the district.
Tim, if you would be so kind, Jason and I will go over there for presentation to the retirees. If you could do the by name.
Yep. Good evening, everyone. We'd like to acknowledge and recognize the following staff on their retirements. Jane Collins, Superintendent Secretary, 18 years of service with the district. Donna Criswell, Kitchen Manager at Franklin Township Elementary, 36 and a half years of service with the district. Christine Ecker, who could not be with us this evening, art teacher at Franklin Township, 14 years of service. Linda Greenelch, food service manager at the middle school, 19 years of service, and she could not be with us this evening. Carol Kessel, social studies teacher at the middle school, 34 years of service. Pamela Maurer, custodian at the middle school, 3 years of service, and she could not be with us. Sue Orndorff, paraprofessional at the high school, 16 years of service, and she could not be with us. Linda Portner, food handler at Eisenhower, 7 years of service, and she could not attend. Kimberly Robinson, mathematics teacher at the high school, 23 years of service. William Schellenhammer, third grade teacher at Getty's, 29 and a half years of service, and he could not attend. And last but not least, Perry Smith, health and phys ed and driver's education teacher at the high school, 32 years of service.
Congratulations, retirees. Perry, just a quick remark and a big thank you on behalf of my wife and I, saving our relationship with our daughters. We were trying to teach them how to drive with not much success. We pulled it off, and thank you very much.
It's funny you just say that, because when I was handing him, I said he has one more to get through my house.
Well, I can share a story with you, but it involves a police officer. Joey Palmer got pulled over with a student driver. He's on your board right now, so I don't know if he wants to.
Oh, we've been fair game forever.
Look at Mr. Lynn over here. He'll remember? Joey, tell me where we got stuck. Yeah. 3 girls were in the car. He left 5 minutes later. They cried for the next 15 minutes. Joey picked us up again. Thank you very much. Thank you, Perry. Back to doing it.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for attending. This portion of the meeting will be our citizens' participation. We've had 2 gentlemen who have asked to address the board this evening. We'll start with Mr. Bob Stillwell.
Dr. Moyer. Mr. President, I was astonished to find out from the Gettysburg Times report of the last school board meeting that after I had to leave the meeting, public speakers were attacked by Mr. Dickerson for accusing the budget director of falsifying documents. I confirmed the paper's reporting by reviewing the video of the meeting, determining that he, in fact, had done just that. I find it sad that he waited until all had left the meeting to hurl that brick back. I presume the accusation was directed at me, but it may have been intended for any of the other 3 speakers that night. So I'll also presume that I can speak for them as well. Michael, you can hear me? How disappointing that you would distort my comments like that. To set the record straight, I have accused no one of falsifying anything. Every number that I have used in my multi-year analysis, and every number I have mentioned in any talk to this board was drawn or derived directly from either the PDE 2028 budget submissions that Mr. Quallen, Dr. Barrett, and Mr. Hasker signed to attest to their accuracy, or from the very school district audits you mentioned to seemingly legitimize your accusation. You can be absolutely sure that if I believed any document had been falsified, I would have filed a criminal complaint long before now, or asked the state's attorney general to open an investigative audit. You owe me, or whoever you were attacking, a public apology and retraction for your uncalled for accusation. I'm sure the Gettysburg Times would happily give you free space on its editorial page to do just that. Finally, as you well know, Mr. President, I have made numerous offers.
Thank you, Bob. And second.
I had this concept, just
because it's going out and people can, thank you.
Yeah. Basically, I'm going to keep this short. I'm in the field of education. I'm a special education teacher. However, I was at home sick last school board meeting. I was going to talk, but I was recovering from COVID. So my questions become, I addressed the board in an email. To my disagreement, when I emailed, I also emailed to Dr. Perrin, but Dr. Perrin was not the one to address me back, even though I used his exact email that was dated on my son's birthday, August 18, 2021. So he did not have the courage to email me back or call me. Dr. McFarland from Lincoln Elementary School did, and I was okay with the results. The only thing that I voiced to him was the fact that I was not, nobody was notified that the students at Lincoln, because they chose as a school not to go on any field trips, okay? And nobody communicated through teachers, because we're very active on Seesaw, those type of things, and nobody basically gave us a shout out or anything. Hey, this is what we're doing. We're doing a virtual field trip. That was not ever discussed. Okay, so that was my one topic. The other thing was about the school police. I guess in a small community like Gettysburg, I know things happen, and there are school shootings nationwide that are happening. However, there's no, I haven't seen the data in a small community like this. We are not Chambersburg. We have probably half that population. They're probably 3 times bigger than us. Okay, but we are going to, on the taxpayers' dollar, spend $160,000 roughly on 2 people. Okay, when I found out from a retired state trooper that Franklin Township and Gettysburg High School are jurisdiction to the state police, free of charge to the taxpayers, because we already pay taxes for that service. So we're talking about roughly 3 schools. And I'm all about safety. I mean, I look on the playground and those type of things every single day. Whether I'm going to put myself at risk because I'm a teacher, and the students are the most important thing. If I lose my life, that's on me. And then the final thing is regarding the budget. I emailed everybody on this board, so I'm not going to mention names or anything. However, in 2 weeks, when you vote on that budget, I highly recommend one of the school board members abstain from the vote. Because how do you raise taxes? And I know he's against it, but he voted yes in the preliminary budget for it. You guys are elected officials. And I, time over time, basically reviewed last meeting. And 3 individuals were very childish in the way they acted because they didn't agree with the people that sit here in the audience and disagree with your votes and how you run things. You have to listen to the people that elected you. And basically, I don't think you're doing that right now. When somebody on the board that's not here is on his phone. Then he also gets up and goes to the solicitor while people are talking. And then another individual stands at that doorway with his hands on his hips and slouches. I'm not okay with that. We're adults. We don't have to agree to, agree. It's America. We can disagree. So I ask you guys to not only be respectful of yourselves, but the people that elected you to those positions. It's all about the kids. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If you'll notice on our agenda, communications is next. So this is a slippery slope. But when I came on the board, I found it unusual that when people provided public comment, that the board sat stoic and weren't addressing back the concerns or referring them on. When I say it's a slippery slope, because the board recognizes that we don't want to go back and debate back and forth. We want to run an organized school board meeting. So under communications moving forward, until we have an issue that's determined by board leadership, I don't know that I'm going to stop anyone from addressing certain things. And I'll start this evening. I cannot address Mike Dickerson, who's not here. You have his email. You can feel free to email him. We may have a difference of opinion on what actually said, and why it was said, or who it was addressed to, but that's not my business. Moving on to the second speaker, Mr. McFarland, when you email the school board, I'm primarily responsible for responding. But I take the notion that if I don't have the answer, or somebody within the district can provide a better explanation, that email is then forwarded. In that particular case, just to set the record straight, I was privy to an email exchange where Dr. Perrin emailed or Dr. Lay, the principal, who made that decision, not the administration on a day-to-day basis. And that's why the response came from.
I would have just liked, because I addressed him.
Right. Right, and this is where I was saying it's slippery slope. I don't want to get the last word, but I want to make sure that the record's corrected and not back and forth in debate. As for the person that was slumped over there, that was me. The reason that happened is they were holding the door for me because I became ill, and it was in between the budget meeting and the regular meeting, and I felt it important that I had to stay here for the regular meeting. And I was catching my breath here at the door. It had nothing to do with any vote. I want to make sure that was actually me. As for the school police, I am a former state trooper. You are correct. But I would ask you, when you're looking for data, look at response time. I'm not throwing the state police under the bus, but I can promise you the allocation of manpower at the Gettysburg Barracks is tenuous at best whenever they have coverage areas from New Oxford to Franklin Township and North. And that's somewhat of what the safety committee and members of the board take into account when we look to see how we're moving forward. The other data, sir, I will actually get that for you, and I will send it to you from the prior SRO position so that you can see call ratio and stuff. You do deserve that, and you asked for it. Routine approval, 6.1. Oh, I'm sorry. Was there any other board member that had a comment?
I guess that the new thing that I want to kick back onto your state police issues, as Kenny stated, you are correct about the state police, but there will be no state officer in the school at all times or on a regular basis. They could drive by occasionally or stop by if they're called, but you don't have somebody here on a regular basis, and that's the whole point of the SRO or our future safety protocol.
Hearing nothing further, routine approvals. May I have a motion for 6.1 through 6.15?
So moved.
Second.
Question? Michelle, can you move the mic?
I think right now we're 6.1 to 6.5.
Well, you might have to move it right up close here, because they're having trouble.
Like,
I'm sorry.
Actually, Michelle, you were correct. It was 6:01 through 6:15, so this is the appropriate time for your question.
Okay, sorry. In referring to the list that was provided, I think it's in the packet. Majority of those transfers are related to the ESER two. So, of course, the largest portion of those transfers, when the expense was done, the expense was not done in the specific account, as you see. We moved money from 5,900 to those categories because when the budget was developed, the ESER two money sat in the 5,900 account, in the function of that. Other transfers are developed either by building, by department, and or looking at the accounts that are in the negative at this particular point in time. So this is an annual it's an annual process as well as it can be a quarterly process that we do these, in addition to done at the end of the audit period in anticipation of the final audit.
I was asked, this is asked today.
Sure.
You have the answer, and I looked at it, and
It's really moving from money from one account to the other to make sure we're satisfied with it.
Hearing no more questions. Roll call. Mike?
Yeah.
What? Timon?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
yes?
Ryan?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Jason?
Just wanted to point out that we have a new food services director that will be joining us on June 27th. We're excited to have him on board, Nicholas Malone, and he will be joining us from, he's currently doing food service work for the South Middleton School District.
Items for board action, 7.1, approval of solicitor. May I have a motion?
Second.
Question?
No questions, just a comment. Just thank Dr. Perrin and Mrs. Wallen for involving a board member committee in this process. And we have 4 really good candidates, and I think Stockton Leader will do a fantastic job of providing us services. Thank you.
Roll call. Tim?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
Yes?
Al?
Yes.
Timon?
Yes.
Mike? I apologize. I think this phone's getting disconnected, so I'm going to do it off of my cell phone and just leave it on. Votes to you on 7.1, approval for school solicitor. Mike? He's a yes. I'm also a yes. 7.2, approval, pupil transportation services agreement. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Question? Roll call. Timon?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
Yes?
Ryan?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes. 7.3, approval, agreement for sale. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Question? Roll call. Jeremy?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
Yes?
Michelle?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Timon?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Ryan? And I vote yes. 7.4, graduation requirements. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Question. Roll call. Mike? Timon?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Amy Beth,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
and I vote yes. 7.5, school police officer. May I have a motion? Question. For transparency, this is to final approval to adopt a policy. It's not actually hiring, it's setting a policy in place. Roll call. Tim,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Amy Beth,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
Timon,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I vote yes. 7.6, relations with law enforcement agencies. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Question. Roll call. Timon,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
Amy Beth,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I vote yes. 7.7, school security personnel. Motion, please.
Motion. Second.
Question. Again, this is just to adopt policy. Roll call. Mike,
Yes.
Timon,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
Amy Beth,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
and I vote yes. That completes our action items. Moving forward, 8.1, school police officer job description. I believe that's you, Jeremy.
Sure, the job description was done in conjunction with the attorney from Apple Yost and Z that's been working on this with us, Belinda and Dave Walker put the job description together. So job descriptions don't get approved by the board, but we share them as information. So we're sharing this as information. So this is the job description for the first hire, which would be kind of the director of the program and part of the Act 93 team. We would not post that position until after approval of the 22-23 budget. Then we would post and have a process for bringing them on. So the board would actually approve the role as part of the human resources recommendation whenever we chose an individual for that role.
Jason, just quickly here. I'm pretty sure I know the answer. The contract with Cumberland Township still has monies that were allocated from a previous budgeting, correct?
We budgeted for the total amount for Cumberland each year, so we did not take that amount out of the budget. So we're just moving that forward to cover some of the costs.
So they didn't use any of that of the budgeted money?
We budget for it every year, so the fact that it ended early this year, there was a little bit of money left over that was part of the 21-22 budget that would be left over with the audit in terms of whatever that money's left over.
So that would be part of the startup. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's the previous year's budget. The only startup would be the amount that we budgeted each year for Cumberland, so we would have the 100,000 would still be there to start it up.
Are there any additional questions? 8.2, fund balance assignment. Any questions on 8.2?
Yeah, I just wanted to share if there was any questions in response to it. So this is the planning process of 21-22. And of course, admin materials are not ready to be received in time to actually spend those funds. So therefore, we want to assign those funds to be used for the 22-23 school year to pay for the uniforms when they're completely done.
No additional questions. 8.3, overnight trip. No questions. Board committee reports. Amy, Beth, anything on legislative or?
Thank you. Negotiations for the 2022-2023 state budget are underway at the Capitol as the deadline of June 30th spending nears. Advocate for increases in basic education funding, including the Level Up initiative, and targets additional resources in certain school districts. We'll be focusing on a 3-week campaign beginning this week to reach out to our legislators on critical issues. The first week will be the special education. The PPSA is advocating that we add $200 million in an increase. The second week will be supporting mental health needs for the students with a request for $60 million additional dollars. And the third week will be career and technical education with a $25 million increase request. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeremy, anything with you?
No.
And I don't believe there's anything with policy. Tim? Oh.
To bring forth, we'll advertise and schedule the next policy meeting.
Thank you, Mike. I spoke for you there too quickly. Tim?
Building and finance, guys, we're still waiting for numbers back from Josh for the next finance committee.
Okay, program reports.
This is the first meeting since, obviously, late May, so I just wanted to say congratulations to our graduating seniors and their families. You know, it's a long journey. One of the best things that I'll ever get to do is stand there and hand a student their diploma. So I think that it's those times that, you know, remind me why we spend all the Monday evenings here. It's really what it's all about. So just want to say congratulations to those folks. It's a great group of kids. They're going to go forth and represent our community and their families well. And I'm excited to see what they do in the next chapters of their lives. At the same time, I want to say kudos to the high school admin team, their staff, because they always do a fantastic job putting that reception and commencement together. Because as you're aware, they're kind of putting that together at a time when schools exactly aren't not crazy, which is May. So I wanted to say kudos to the high school admin staff, facilities department, everybody that was involved, and thank the board members for those that were able to attend, being able to be there. So congratulations, class of 2022, and hope you'll come back and visit us soon.
Well, before we close, I just want to piggyback. Each year this board sits, Jason said, every other Monday. I just want to thank and congratulate staff, the teachers, the whole support staff for getting through another year. The board gets caught up in budget, COVID, all the other related issues, and everybody just plugs away and does their best they can with what they have in front of them. So I think Gettysburg had yet another successful year, and like I said all along, I would take this school district over any other. I'm sure that I'll get mail about that, but I'm happy that we're here. Any other board members before I adjourn? Yes. Go ahead, Mike.
I just wanted to share that our young men and women of our JROTC program took place and led the wreath laying ceremony for the 78th anniversary of the D-Day invasion at Normandy's Day. And that was very memorable and very successful, and I just wanted to give them a quick moment of recognition.
Thank you, Mike. Motion to adjourn? We stand adjourned.